Sit, Ubu, sit. Good robot.
Because that's how you get ants!
The story of the boy and his dog goes back to, well, basically the beginning of Western storytelling. It was the Egyptians that were the weird cat people. The power of man's relationship to his dog was referenced by Homer in the Odyssey, in which Odysseus' dog lives long enough to see his master one last time, then dies. Look, I didn't say they were all heartwarming stories, but it does speak to the notion that dogs were so notoriously loyal that of course Argos would be the only one to recognize his dog dad. Old Yeller, Lassie, even Pete's dragon are the story of a young boy bonding with their pet and the hijinks that ensue after. So naturally we need to update the trope for the modern era, bringing us the boy and his robot. Today we try to decipher anything nice to say about AXL. AXL started off as a proof of concept short film on Kickstarter called Miles. Creator Oliver Daly was a fan of dirt bikes and technology. The project raised $43,000 and Oliver started reworking it into a feature-length film. David S. Goyer joined on as a producer. David Goyer, the writer behind Batman Begins, Man of Steel, Blade Trinity, and the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury movie. Oh, you didn't know that was a thing? It very much is.
I'll get that vampire's blood if I have to suck it from her neck.
The best part of AXL is the concept of the film. In the mid-2000s, some footage of a military-funded robotics project by Boston Dynamics went viral on the internet. DARPA's Big Dog caught many people's attention, mostly because it was kind of haunting and a little bit terrifying. It was designed to be a pack mule that the military could use in the field. Well, Oliver Daly took this idea and ran with it. What if this was feasible? What if they took it a step further? What if they replaced dogs with robots? The movie picks up with a presentation by a robotics firm presenting this idea. We cut to a dirt bike race and are introduced to Miles, a teen who is trying to qualify for the next round of competitive racing. I haven't seen a dirt bike movie since that Disney Channel movie. Honestly, I don't think I've seen one before that. Daly clearly loves the world and culture of Central California dirt biking. I can't really comment on how accurate it is. Miles is poor. His bike chain breaks, his top competitor is rich and has a sponsor, so we see our antagonist. The daughter of the rich kid's housekeeper is there too for some reason and steals a chain from the rich kid to give it to Miles. After the race, the rich kid invites Miles over for a party. We see that he owns a flamethrower for some reason. Cut to evil company talking about how it escaped. How do we know the company is evil? Well, they never turn the lights all the way on. Considering this is a movie about a robot dog, we're pretty sure we know what it is anyway. Later, the rich kid and his friends lure Miles out to an abandoned area, claiming they're going to film him doing stunts to attract the notice of sponsors. They put energy drink in his gas tank and he wipes out on a jump. They abandon him, but a good Samaritan cameraman convinces them to leave some gas behind so Miles can get home. They're jerks, not murderers. Miles comes across AXL, the robot dog. It chases him at first, but soon they start to bond. At one point, the robot starts a self-destruct sequence as it has been programmed never to fall into enemy hands, but Miles is so nice to it, it shuts down the sequence. Meanwhile, the evil corporation is watching everything through drone footage and the eyes of the dog. They decide not to move in to capture it because this will give the AI a chance to start learning. They probably should have split the difference here. We don't really need their exposition on the military-grade robot dog, and it seems pretty stupid once they've found it to just let it possibly kill a bunch of people. What if they let it out on purpose to bridge that gap? That would have been an easy story fix. Other than that, the evil corporation is pretty run-of-the-mill. Miles helps repair AXL. They do some dirt bike stunts together. It's kind of cute the way he plays with the dog. They do this thing where AXL bends down to become a ramp that Miles launches off of. A romance blooms between the housekeeper's daughter Sarah and Miles. She shows him her moody graffiti art that triggers a memory response in AXL, where they get an introduction video projected on the wall. A little thing pops out of the dog's head and it looks like, get ready for this, a dog tag. It does a needle prick and Miles is now linked to him. The evil incorporated guys are all upset because this has ruined the robot dog. They never call it a prototype. I kind of wish they had called it a prototype at some point. The rich kid bully tracks down Axel, gets mad at him, and brings back the flamethrower. Remember? From before? To torch the dog. Before we go out on a limb here and start claiming this is the kind of kid who would torture puppies, this thing is not the cutest robot dog I've ever seen. I mean, come on.
Good boy.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Easy.
Even the later DARPA projects incorporated more friendly banana-inspired exteriors.
I'm too hard, hot damn. And my man bow down, money break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah.
Axel calls Miles and Sarah on the phone because robots can do that. They show up and get him to a machine shop to put him in a self-repair mode. Now that they can't see him, Evil Incorporated sends out a retrieval team. Thomas Jane inexplicably plays Miles' dad and at one point disarms the Evil Incorporated recovery dude and holds him at arrow point. Alright, that was the coolest part of the film. Axel wakes up after his 2.5-hour repair nap, fouls some evil company dudes who have found the garage, and makes a break for it. He goes after the kid who set him on fire because, duh. Miles and Sarah stop him from killing the bully. The company recovers him. They try to break him out. Miles steals a cool Evil Inc. military dirt bike and a helmet that allows him to link with Axel's systems. They do stunts to escape like they did while playing. Miles crashes and Axel's readout says that he has a broken arm. He does the "run boy, leave me" routine. Instead, Axel runs at a pursuing helicopter and activates his self-destruct sequence. The movie is tied up in a messy bow by the military expositioning that they paid everyone off to not talk about it and dissolve the contract with the evil company. At the end, Miles and Sarah have a husky puppy and can now afford college thanks to the military payout. Miles gets a package from his dad that turns out to be the dog tag binder thing, turns it on, and immediately gets a phone call from Axel. Okay, so the action scenes are a lot of fun and Axel's design is a little clunky, but still pretty cool. The movie follows traditional movie plot structure almost to a fault. There is no fat in this film. Everything is a setup for something that pays off later. There are no loose threads, but there aren't really any surprises either. It reminds me a lot of the movie Clock Stoppers, which I love and still watch on occasion. There isn't any new ground being broken, and it's predictable, but that doesn't mean you can't get any enjoyment out of it. If you're a fan of dirt bike racing or motocross, this will probably be a lot more interesting to you. If you're really into film or consider yourself to be a big movie buff, this might be interesting to watch to see a movie that almost plays like someone writing a screenplay from an instruction manual. And I think that's where Axel ultimately ended up failing. The movie is so paint by numbers that instead of delivering on a great concept, it just sort of ends up being a predictable hour and 30 minutes, which works in a pinch. The target market seems to be teenagers, which I think is a difficult market to nail. It sort of feels like they should have picked either an adult audience and swung for the fences or a kid's audience and swung for that different but equally high fence. Axel the dog doesn't have much of a personality. It's a one-dimensional film. The best word to describe it, take it or leave it, is inoffensive. Again, these are criticisms, but they don't necessarily make it a bad movie. It just means you have to be in the right mood to watch it. If this had been a direct-to-television movie, or maybe something that came out on Netflix or Hulu, it probably would have been much better received. Unfortunately, with too high expectations, it will be forever known as a box office flop, proving that just because a few people like something on Kickstarter won't make it the next big cultural trend. That's all for this episode of Anything Nice to Say. Don't bring home strange robots, and never be ashamed to like what you like. Speaking of high expectations, have you checked out my book on Amazon yet? Why not? You can get it as an ebook. It would be great if you did. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you have a movie you want me to say something nice about, leave it in the comments below. Check out my other show, Two Authors Talking, and head over to Patreon to become a subscriber for early access, bonus content, and other fun goodies.